Hey there, friends! Welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask. I'm your host, Sarah Joy, and this is your friendly. Oh no, who am I? I'm your friendly neighborhood interrogator turned clone, helping you get to know who the person is behind the screen name. Tonight, we're talking with Seppy. You may know him from Lone Gamers of the Apocalypse and Fight in the Box. We've got some really exciting things to talk to Seppy about. But first, Seppy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Uh, my name is Seppy. I'm
Hi.
I'm chief game designer for Fight in a Box. I have been post-adult for 10 years. I've been out longer than Magic the Gathering.
What is post-adult?
All right, so in the spectrum of things, we all understand children are
Uh-huh.
trying to acclimate themselves to their bodies. That's the role of children, right? That is what it means to be a child.
We all
Okay?
ran into walls a lot. Yes, very true.
Right. So an adolescent is somebody trying to find their place in the adult world. Okay?
Okay. Uh-huh,
An
uh-huh.
adult is someone who makes adult choices to try to survive in the adult world. A post adult is somebody who's desperately trying to make choices to escape the adult world.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. Yes. Yes.
Post adult, yeah, I'm a post adult. You gotta be so many levels to go post adult. But yeah, I went post adult a while ago.
It's so
It's 10 years of
post-adult.
fighting a box. 10 years of
Oh
fighting
my
a
gosh, that's
box.
amazing. I love that so very much.
It's a
So,
thing.
Fight in a Box is your full-time gig, yeah?
I have fighting a box with Mark full time every week, and then I have two part-time gigs to make sure that I can eat.
Who needs to eat? Eating is
No,
overrated.
yeah, eating is overrated. I need to slim down. I'm just helping myself slim down.
Totally, totally. So yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Um, why? I'm super curious. Why Fight in a Box? What happened? What got you up one day and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna be a game designer.
A lot of things happened. I never really had a chance. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons in the '70s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it just stuck. You know how they have those memes, like you pick something up random and like this is gonna be my personality now. I did not realize that was the choices that I was making. Yeah. I had escaped gaming life when I was in the service.
Uh-huh.
Then, when I got out of the service, I came up to Minnesota to help with a book publishing company and
Mhm.
ended up starting a gay youth magazine. That was
Okay.
that was right before .com, and then
Intentionally? Uh-huh.
since it was meant for gay youth, people with no money, we published online too, and it was in '98. If you could say the word .com, you could get a job in .com.
Yep.
So I had successfully done all of the photography for our magazine digitally in '98, and that's really a feat if anybody knows anything about that. And so I got picked up by Best Buy
Oh, nice.
uh, to help them transition from shooting on film to all digital backs for their launch of BestBuy.com.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. So like you've been in the tech industry for a long time on the
Yeah,
side. And I say a long time as someone who was on GeoCities at the same time. So
I can see you as a dancing hamster. I can see that. That is so fantastic.
I have
So,
the number 3 Sailor Jupiter page. I'm just saying.
oh, that's that's hot. That really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
So,
So yeah.
in .com, there was a massive labor shortage for people who were competent.
Mhm.
Somehow proved that I was competent. And so after BestBuy.com, I got picked up by Medtronic.com.
Ooh, okay.
And during that time, they did not have enough work to keep me busy. So I would show up on Monday mornings and get all my work done by noon on Mondays and said, hey, do you want to send me home? And they were like, there's no way in any form I am going to send you. You need to stay there in case we need stuff to do, you to do, and we can't let anybody else pick you up. I looked at them and I'm like, are you sure? I will go crazy if you just leave me. They're like, go work on anything. You seem like the dangerous type. Like, we should not let you go crazy. Uh, Go ahead and work on whatever you want. It's yours. Just be there in case there's work, and make sure you do not leave before 3 o'clock on Friday. I was like, all right, I can do that. And so
Okay.
I picked up one of my games from the 80s that I had worked on, and I brushed it off and I made a new version of it. And they paid me lucratively for 7 months to work on games.
Oh my god, that's amazing. What was the game? What was the game that you made in the 80s?
I haven't even told Mark about that, so we're not going to talk about that.
Why not?
I know. I
He's
have
here
a.
now. It's time to
I
talk about it.
no. I have a martial arts fighting game. Mark
Oh,
has never even seen. It's incredible. It uses a core system that has never not popped up in my 40 years of gaming. This idea has not occurred to anyone yet, and I have been keeping it under wraps.
okay. So it's a martial arts fighting game with an amazing rules engine system behind the scenes that is yet to be brought forward.
I've just kept on waiting for somebody to do this, and nobody's done it. And no, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, yeah.
So when's that one coming out?
No, never. We gotta get Conquest Princess to happen first.
Well,
Long line of games. It's a long
I'm
line of games before I resurrect the Kung Fu, the martial arts game. Martial arts game is good. It's super Shaw Brothers. It's super Jade Man comics. If you know anything about like like 80s Hong Kong comics, it's
no, I don't know anything about 80s Hong Kong comics. Oh my god, there's a whole
yeah.
genre to learn about.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
if somebody like if Jade Man, I should get a Jade Man subscription. I would start from the beginning. I'd read that stuff. Yeah, I would do it. I would do it. It's incredible.
Okay.
Watch so many. Yeah. So
Let's make a
um,
channel in the server and we'll all do it together.
I really like my favorite Shaw Brothers ones are the ones that have mysteries in them or a little bit of supernatural stuff in it. The Five Deadly Venoms is probably the greatest martial arts film in the history of martial arts films. It's either mysteries or training sequences or both. Um, and uh, and the Five Deadly Venoms is a murder mystery. It's a heist. It's all the things that you love. And so that inspired me to write a game that then put me in a seat for 7 months, like squirreling away money.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that sounds amazing.
So that is when I was able to just really concentrate on it and realize that I could spend an indefinite amount of time designing games.
So, you started playing Dungeons and Dragons in the 70s. I'm going to assume that was during your childhood or your second rendition of your childhood because you're actually a vampire and immortal with flawless skin like that. I see you. What got you into Dungeons and Dragons? What got you into games in the first place?
Um, that's a great question. On our live on Wednesday, I have Jason Headley, Easy Cat, coming to our live on TikToks. We're going to talk about our development as gamers with a Y and how fantasy worlds affected our development as queer people.
Oh, that
Um,
sounds amazing. Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna drop that in the chat for everyone so we can all find it. Andrew's gonna
You
put
should
it in
know,
the
like seriously.
link. Yeah.
I'm gonna make Mark edit it. Jason is an author. He's written 3 books. His most famous one is called Mythos. It's like Jurassic Park for like gay teens,
Uh-huh.
except for they found DNA of dragons, unicorns, and griffins instead of dinosaurs.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Fantasy Jurassic Park.
It's Fantasy Jurassic Park. So I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that because he loves Jurassic Park. But for me, I definitely have to say the Shaw brothers were a massive influence. Like they
Okay.
were huge from 76 to 83, right? And it's a weird cultural thing.
Hmm.
Um, there's a Netflix series called like The Films That Made Us. Like they talk about the very first summer blockbuster, which was Jaws, the first must-see summer movie. And if you actually look at Jaws, it was weirdly like feminist empowered. Like the women in the Jaws are not the women that you end up seeing saved in the 80s. Somewhere along the line,
Yep.
like because the summer right after that, I guess 76, I guess 77. That's Star Wars. 78 is Star
I
Wars. 78
I
is
think
Star Wars.
77 is Star Wars. Somebody quick in the chat. Go. We'll
77
get
is
it here
Star Wars, and
shortly.
it's the right year, the year right after that. And there's
Mhm.
an argument that that's a transition. Like Princess Leia is not nearly as empowered. She becomes much more so, but in that first movie, the only thing that she asserts herself on is kissing her brother.
Right. She was a little mouthy to Darth Vader. She was a little mouthy to Darth Vader, like right away. That's when I fell in love with her. Like she's just
Uh,
freaking amazing.
she had me at buns.
Buns? Oh, it was
Yeah.
the hairdo. It was the hairdo.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously
they're very hard to achieve.
she's an inspiration for Conquest Princess. Like as far as like I'm gonna lead a freaking rebel army. I'm gonna make this stuff happen. Yeah, like so. Um, what's like anybody. Uh, my brother is a massively successful person. I am the shame of my whole family, and what my
Well, your whole
family.
family's wrong. But anyway.
No, but they blame my life choices on him getting me into Dungeons and Dragons. And so,
Okay.
um, because of the Shaw brothers, and this is a very real statement about my brother and how he eventually becomes a lawyer. Um, he killed me off because I was a kid playing a monk and I didn't know any better and I loved the Shaw brothers and so I would go and punch everything, right? And
Mhm.
then when he killed me off, I would go and run to my parents saying, "Killed me," and they're like, "Stop killing your brother." And they're like, and you know, he was like very mad. He's like, "It's part of the rules. He's killing himself." And they're like, "You cannot kill him anymore." He thought to himself, "I can't kill him, eh?" Okay. So Monty Python is a huge influence at that time. So he ended up black knighting me every session. So every time I would die, instead he took a limb.
Oh my god.
That meant my other brother ended up throwing me at people when I headbutt them. And his goal was for me to eventually kill the character myself, so that he could play with his friends and not have to take the burden of me. Like if I myself killed me, and he lawyered his way out of it. So it was very much
Oh
to
my
the
god.
letter of that. So there were a lot of gelatinous cubes. There were a lot of black dragons. Anything that was inherently dangerous for somebody to punch or kick, his dungeons were filled with those. And so
He was literally trying to murder you the entire time.
he was trying to make sure that I lost something. And
Yeah.
I made very bad decisions. I was young. I made very bad decisions. It was the
That's
70s.
that's good. You
Everybody was
understood the
young in the
consequences quickly.
Everybody was young in the 70s. Even my parents were young in the 70s. Everybody was young in the 70s.
Oh my god, that's like how did your family find Dungeons and Dragons? Because I feel like it was popular, but it wasn't that terribly popular. Like that parents are like, here, children, go play with these books. Right? It took a certain kind of
Interesting.
parent, certain kind of family.
I don't actually. This is entirely my brother's fault, but I don't know. Like, I don't know where he started. Like, maybe it was a buddy of his named Kurt that
Okay.
started. It was Kurt's fault. And then,
Thanks, Kurt.
yeah, like, and then once I got a hold of it, that was it. Like, I was the only kid in elementary school. Like, at show and tell reading about immolation from the back of the advanced player's handbook, talking about, hello, today I would like to talk about immolation, the psionic ability. Like, yeah, you don't have little kids doing that.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's
I love that. You're gonna have
100%.
to
That's
find that out. I want you to find that out and bring it back to us.
No.
Like, is it really
Mm-mm.
Kurt's fault?
It
Oh,
might be Kurt's fault. No, I don't
yeah.
know. There's a whole bunch of lore. Have
Amazing.
you ever seen Big Fish, the movie? Jay?
Like forever ago when it was on TV and I was half watching it.
Okay. The whole deal about that is the narrative of what is true, what is not true, and if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes your truth.
Uh-huh.
There's so many stories now that I have like told and retold myself. Who knows?
And now it's Kurt's fault. All right, done. All right, we've settled it. It is now Kurt's fault. I got it. I got it. So because of Kurt, when in 98 your job was like, hey, so we just need your butt in a seat, keep yourself entertained, and you were like, you know what, I'm making a game.
So in '98, I was whisked away from doing the magazine by .com. The greed. I had been so like I was exactly as poor as you think. Somebody who was full time doing ad sales, editing, and I was the chief editor and photographer for an LGBT youth magazine. I was
Amen.
exactly that poor.
Yeah.
And
Oh
when
yeah.
somebody said, "We're gonna pay you how much?"
Done. I'm there.
I'm like, I guess I'm doing this now. I guess
Yeah.
I'm the problem. I guess I will prostitute myself for exactly that much money. That is the amount of money that I will go and do that for.
Hey, we all have our price. We all have our price. I too know my price.
I don't know if I have a price anymore. There's a real question that
Ooh,
I
okay.
get like Mark knows I hate money. It's really bad. I should not hate money as much as I do. Like when I was making the most of it, I was the most miserable I think I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
And
I find that
that
very
led me on my journey to being a post-adult.
Okay, cool. Let's talk more about that then. Like, so you're sitting there, you're making this game, you're miserable, making money hand over fist.
Oh no, that just started my
That was
journey
bad.
of greed.
Oh,
Like
okay.
my journey of greed started with that, and I was unhappy-ish. But then the bubble burst, and suddenly I got 18 months off. Like when the .com bubble burst, I was like sitting on a gay dragon's hoard of money, and all that was there was like Diablo 2 had come out. It was like, play some more Diablo 2.
Yep.
Or is it Diablo 3? It's probably Diablo 3 at the moment. Play some more Diablo
Diablo
3.
3 was 2011 because I could not
Okay, there was
believe that
two.
game has been going around so
All right,
long.
so it's Diablo 2. It's still Diablo 2. It's still in my conscious. Um, and then Worlds of Warcraft happened, and I had like a beta key, and then I was like, oh, all I need to do is play Worlds of Warcraft and sit on this money. And so I just took it as a vacation. I had made all this earlier .com money, and I was like, well, when somebody wants to hire me, they will.
Uh-huh.
And that was my attitude for a while.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
How'd
and
that work?
so okay for a little while.
Okay, okay.
Okay for a little. The break was great. But then I got caught up in a lot of stuff. I started an online printing business, which started fantastic, but then it ended up having problems with stuff that I don't want to go into because it's unpleasant and awful. But then that left me in a situation where in 2007 I needed to generate massive amounts of cash. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And I generated that money for a while.
Uh-huh. And I'm assuming the misery that came with it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was not great. It was not great. But Yeah, anybody can look me up on LinkedIn and see exactly what I was doing and why.
Okay,
That's the
I'll
great
go
of
on
like
LinkedIn.
the thing is, what's amazing about being my age is a lot of my mistakes are not recorded on the internet.
Yes, 100% yes. That I too find that being like 350, whereas you're like 500, same thing.
Exactly. Like, oh my
You can
gosh.
make all the mistakes when you're young.
Oh my gosh. That night I went drinking with Oscar Wilde, I don't need the internet to know
That's
about that.
right.
That's like
Nobody needs to know about that.
nobody needs to know about that. Like Roswell, nobody needs to know about my time
Nope.
at Roswell. No one needs to know any of that.
That never happened. Never happened. They
It never
can't
happened.
prove it. They also can't prove it didn't happen. So much easier to be a vampire then than it is now.
Like, you think Area 51, that's the tourism spot. Talk about 2 and 3, like Area 52 and 3. Now that's where the party's at. So, yeah, that's a good, yeah. Yeah. So I'd spent a lot of time between probably 2007 to 2012 chasing the dollar.
Mm,
And that ended up uh, commanding my exodus in 2013, and that's when I started my company.
awesome. And your company equals Fight in a Box.
In a box. Yeah, since 2013.
What was the first game Fight in the Box released?
Released would be Squirrel or Die.
Okay. Which is still
Squirrel
like
or
one of your most
Die.
popular games, yeah.
Yeah, we sold over 10,000 Squirrel or Dies. I was wondering if I had one handy, and apparently I don't. Mark, I'm
I
terrible.
have one handy.
Yeah. I do have a Hedgehog Hop, which was the first game I did with Mark.
I know. I'm very excited about that one.
Yeah,
I too
it's
own
really
that one.
good. It's really good.
Yeah. So, like, why games? What is it about games that intrigues you so much?
Um, Honest truth
Yeah,
or big fish
that's why we're
truth?
here.
Or big fish
Um,
truth?
Give me the big fish truth first, or give me the honest truth first, and then let's hear that big fish truth.
The honest truth is, like my degree was I studied creative writing
Oh,
in
interesting.
college.
Uh-huh.
I somehow need to mute Andrew. Hold on a second. Okay, I was hearing
Uh,
myself.
I muted
Uh,
Andrew. I think he's
there you
still
go.
quiet. Yeah.
I got it. Um, and I wrote 120 some pages on a novel,
Okay.
and I realized that I had two things. I had never lived, so I could not write any experience. I could not write any likable characters.
Interesting.
And so, being a game master took all of the things that I was terrible out of writing in an RPG way and let more talented people create more fleshed out characters.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah, like
It's
if you've
collaborative
listened,
storytelling, right? Yeah.
it is. If you've listened to Lone Gamers of the Apocalypse, you realize all of my characters that I play end up having some serious problems and are bent for tragic endings. Now,
They're
Mark,
so cute, though.
Mark is hell bent to thwart me at every turn. He is determined that in all of the multiverses, that I have an ending that is kind and generous and loving and all the kinds of happinesses that could come into any kind of particular ending. And we've been in apocalypses. I've been a demon. I've been a skunk. Like,
I loved your skunk. I loved your skunk.
and he's determined. He's determined to make sure that my characters find happiness despite tragedy and whatever. But those characters are very indicative of writing the kinds of characters that I was going to write. I think maybe finally after like 5 decades, I might like myself enough to actually write a character that is like uplifting. But I would just basically be writing anybody from Mark's friend group.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. That's accurate. Or just Mark.
Yeah, he's a bag of a skin bag filled with energy blobs. We know that, and that's the best thing.
He
Or
is.
yeah,
That is all Mark is in the best way, and they're all happy energy blobs.
oh yeah, happy. Like look at me.
Oh my gosh. So, if you were writing those kinds of characters, I'm really interested. The games that come out, other than processing, which is personally my absolute favorite, um, like they're very like Hedgehog Hop is very positive and uplifting.
It is. And
Yeah, it
guess
is.
guess
Yeah,
who was
Conquest
guess what
Princess
this
is too.
oh maybe.
It is.
All right, so
The entire goal of Conquest Princess, I'm plugging your game now. The entire goal of Conquest Princess is figuring out how to work with the people around the table and like do it in a way that you guys are like that you're supporting each other and that you're coming together to be something bigger than yourself and then finding the joy in that and cute accessories.
yes.
Like
Yes. Yes.
what
Yes.
why are you so happy now, Seppy?
Um, it was a transformation. Like Conquest Princess started as a Mean Girl area control set collection game.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Version one was hysterical and super mean. And the problem with one was that it took 2.5 hours to play.
Ooh,
Um,
okay, okay, okay.
it got to game testing, it got to convention testing, and it failed
Hmm.
because nobody wanted a 2.5 hour Mean Girl experience.
Yeah, we
Uh,
all had that in middle school. Like, we're good.
so it just transformed based on like things I was interested in trying, and it really came together after Mouse Cheese. That this was the
Oh, okay,
version that
yeah,
we were
that's a
putting
good one.
forward. And I was just in a we all get along, we should all collaborate sort of headspace. And the Yang brothers, if you know anything about them, are very positive individuals. And so I feel like their representation in the positive nature of Conquest Princess is very, very clear. Um, when you leave me alone, the game that you get is processing.
For those of you who have not played processing, this is very much my favorite game because you get to decide. You try to appease your alien overlords by either um, eating the humans, letting them go, or probing them for science.
And so, since we talk so much about my work history, you can literally see how autobiographical that title is. Like,
Oh
I
my
had
God,
I
yeah.
had 27 direct reports at one time.
Oh, oh, friend, I've had 17. It's rough.
Yeah,
Are you okay?
I had 27. It's like
That's too
processing,
many.
like human HR is the biggest like nod to cannibalism in corporate America. Humans are not a resource. They are people.
All of you should be created to people. We have done it
uh,
so that we can live. Like,
yeah,
why are they consuming us? Yes.
like people are great. They
Get off
bring
my
us
soapbox.
ice cream, they bring us music, they bring us
Uh-huh.
role-playing games, they bring us
Uh-huh.
laughter. People are great.
Ceremony.
We often like make the mistake conversationally saying things like people suck. But the
Yeah.
fact is that us in a minority group makes us feel isolated. But actually, the truth is people have bad moments, but randoms can suck. And suddenly, randoms are now in the minority, and you realize it. You know, we still have ice cream and long form TV drama, except for the writer's strike. That's poop. Uh, and medicine and laughter because of people
Right. And games.
and games about cannibalism because I always sneak it in there. I always sneak it in every one of my games.
Wait,
Ah!
Conquest Princess has cannibalism?
Yeah, there's a
Are they?
reason. There's a reason Blue wears a mask.
Oh!
So the Pisarians
Uh-huh.
from NATO Prime,
Uh-huh.
none of them are born female.
Okay.
You have to win female as a position like clownfish do. So
Nice.
they're all cannibals,
Oh my God, that's
or at
amazing.
least descended from cannibals. You don't get to be this glorious without devouring a few little man sharks.
Oh my God. You know
So
what?
I
That's just
love this
reality.
poster.
That's
I
reality.
love this poster in particular because our intern Evan took Mark's character designs and put our non-binary character with our trans character, who both are in story biologically and science fictionally. It's appropriate for their universe, and nobody thinks anything of it. So,
Right. As it should be.
yeah,
But, you know.
like Ado Prime. Andrew's dying. He's like, how did you? Why would you name it NATO Prime? The Pisarians. I love the Pisarians. The Pisarians are great people. They've since turned, of course, to cloning to thwart this,
The
inherent
cannibalism?
cannibalism.
Yep,
But
yep, yep.
still,
Oh my God,
um,
that's amazing.
yeah.
So, okay, we're talking about Conquest Princess. I am not going to make the assumption that everybody in here knows that that's a game that you've created that has launched for its game start. Like, do you want to tell us kind of a little bit about that? Plug yourself here right now, and
Oh my
then
gosh,
we'll get back
I'm
to
terrible
more.
at that. All right, so in Conquest
Do
Princess,
it right now.
all right, now in Conquest Princess, it is a co-op crisis management game. Okay, so if you're a board gamer, you understand what that means. Okay? It is also a bag builder. All right. So if you're a non-board gamer, the story of it is you are playing as the agents of the Temporal Intergalactic Armed Response Agency, or the Tiara. As agents of the Tiara, it is your job to stop certain types of fashion crime. And those are fashion crime having to do with the Titan field. The Titan field is the creative fabric of the universe. Okay? And so it's a very specific technology having to do with the nature of how things to come into being. Okay? So it's super fun. The tutorial is very easy. The standard mission is very hard. You can always set the difficulty down. The missions are all independent, so you can choose to play them, or you can play the story as a campaign. Does that answer your question, SJ?
Yes, and where can we find it?
On Gamefound currently
Game
until the
Found.
23rd. Yeah, even if you can't back the project, if you follow it and share various things from it, that's a major help to us, especially on social media, in
Yeah.
particular Meta, where a lot of people who are very comfortable backing crowd funds tend to hang out and learn things. But it is particularly important if you are a woman gamer to share it with your woman gamer friends. Do you know why, SJ?
I say because it shows us as amazing and powerful, and because we have super fun playing it. But why
That's
for you, Seppy?
that's true. But did you know that there is a lady tax on gaming?
Tell me about this.
Okay, so crowd funds, um, they have a certain pattern and they have a certain life blood. And
Uh-huh.
a successful project becomes a big hit because of the algorithm of of meta. Right? You use a formula for this game has gotten to a certain size, has this many people. We'll now feed it to meta, And at this amount of dollar rate, we will increase your success, the number of people to your project, which then makes sense because money, instead of going to the game, is now lowering the production costs, which means more people can buy the game, which means.
Right.
Okay? So that's how that works. Well, women, there are more women on Meta than men because, statistical averages. Number one.
Right.
Number two, women are in control of discretionary spending more often in households. Number three, there are more products targeting women than men by a lot. All household products, all general products, and all women's specific products are now all being targeted at women. Guess how much more cost per conversion or click chasing after women is on that platform?
Oh my gosh. I too advertise on that platform, and my audience tends to be female based. Yeah. Oh man, I'm sure it's a lot because I've not looked at what it is just for like specific male folks.
All right.
How much more? You're about to
30,
horrify me.
it's 30% more. And so if you're a woman who already makes 30% less,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it takes cost 30% more, um, uh, and the algorithm will also would consider 30% more to be a fail. So it just flat out won't show women gaming content. So where SJ, you might go and see all this stuff in your feed for Instagram or Facebook. The stuff that Mark and Andrew and I would see would be completely different, not only because of our preferences, but because we're that much cheaper to get to. So gaming content suddenly becomes invisible to women in a culture that likes to gatekeep people out of it for not knowing about a thing.
Yep. Very, very true. Oh my gosh, you are blowing my mind right now, and I'm going back and thinking about all of the things. Like I am heavily on a lot of gamer sites. I'm heavily on sci-fi, and I very rarely get marketed to about sci-fi. It's always shoes.
That's the experience. That's the
Yeah.
experience. Like women gamers have to go to places
Mm-hmm.
to learn things about gaming, where other people
Mm-hmm.
is just handed to them.
Yep.
Like I had to stop Mark no more than 19 times from backing Ninja Sloths. Like he was just like, oh, Ninja Sloths came up again. I gotta do Ninja Sloths.
Never heard of it. Yep.
I like, oh my god.
Yep.
If I had $1 every time Ninja Sloth showed up on my page, I might be able to eat more than rice.
These Ninja Sloths, yeah, and I've never seen it or heard of it.
No, it was a big crowdfund like 2 weeks
That's
or 3
amazing.
weeks ago. Yeah, it was just
Yeah. The only way I knew Diablo 4 was coming out, like I'm thinking about this now. I'm like, oh my God, how do I even get gaming news? LinkedIn. So I follow specifically all of the game companies on LinkedIn because I'm in project management, and I'm like, sure, I'll jump ship and go over there if you want me. But like, that's the only way I know anything about games is LinkedIn. Like,
and
what
that's
in the
insane.
world?
The
I'm on
reason
that
that
content all the time.
Yeah, and the thing is, why that's even more insane is gaming doubled in size in since 2020.
Oh yeah.
That's people who identify as gamers. When I say gaming doubles in size, it's people who say no matter what you're playing, from console to role-playing games to uh, uh, games to whatever have you, card games, people who identify as gamer doubled in size. Largest group they're in by a lot was women. Now women have caught up. They were like 40% of gaming before 2020, and now they're statistically even more. And you have what you had to happen with the Spiel Awards this year. You
What
heard about
happened?
that whole thing.
No, I did not. Tell me about that.
I don't like to get into controversy, but here are the facts. Somebody brought to the Spiel attention that they nominated all straight white guys, and
Shocking.
all the voting panel people were straight white guys, or practically. I should not know.
Shocking.
I don't know their individual stories, so forth and whatnot. And it created a huge thing on Twitter, and stuff happened. And I don't like to put out whatever it is. But the fact is, if you win the Spiel des Jahres, your life changes.
Mm-hmm.
You win the Spiel der Kinder, your life changes. One of our friends in Minnesota, Adam Rayberg, rightfully so, is nominated for his game Planet Unknown.
Ooh.
I know for a fact that Mark has played more Planet Unknown than Conquest Princess by a lot.
This is true, he says.
Yeah, like seriously, Planet Unknown's fantastic. But like they're not representative of who gaming is right now. Yet they're picking the thing that says this is leading our industry.
Right.
So it's another instances where diverse voices aren't being heard or even seen. We are invisible. So I made a game. It has too many hurdles because it's too diverse.
Right. So what I hear is now, since we all, me especially, have been educated about this, we're going to share this and we're going to share the crap out of it so that people.
You have to go to spaces. You have to go to spaces.
Right. Can see this and how awesome and amazing it is because the system is.
Well, you don't even have to take it like it's one thing if we created a game and it was a small little indie game. The game actually has gotten great critical reviews.
Yeah, I played it. I reviewed it. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, like you don't have to take our word for it. The people who are at the top of the reviewer game, who the rest of the world is looking at, with the exception of maybe the very top media outlet or second one down, have reviewed it and said this game is freaking legit. Its theme is insane. Seppy is crazy, cuckoo bananas. But the game is good. Like I've worked 6.5 years on this.
The game is like phenomenal. It is. I backed it. I was not number one. I was very disappointed. I went.
What number are you?
19.
That is amazing. You got top 20, SJ.
Yeah.
Like the fight fans are very competitive about who's the number one is. Like the fact that our first post tells you who the number one is very like the fight fans are very, very, very in tune with who number one is because we usually give out a numbered something as part of the campaign, but we only ever pick out the number one and let everybody else random. And so the number one gets all the single issue stuff. Yeah, and so that is the goal of the number one. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, you guys really have created something that is just absolutely amazing and phenomenal. And you are an absolutely amazing and phenomenal human being behind it.
No. I am just like Mark is Peter Pan, and I'm his irritating shadow.
Oh my god, I love that. So,
I'm just happy to be here, as say like I drag him along like he's flying into girls' bedrooms saying, "Get back here, you idiot!" And I got time people to sew me back together. But like this game happens because our collaboration with the Yang brothers and even with our intern Evan and Graham has really produced some insanely good stuff. Thank you for being the voice of the Dragon Empress in the Princess Zero comic. If people haven't checked out
oh my god, that was so good. The
full
art
cast.
on that.
Oh my gosh, Graham did such a good job.
Yeah.
And Mark's edit to that really highlighted the details that only Graham knew he had put in there.
Oh,
Um,
right. And Graham is incredibly detailed.
it's
Like that
insane.
edit, like the pan of the art is beautiful. It was all so beautiful. Like,
Yeah, he
y'all, if you
didn't
have
like
no
all
idea
the.
what we're talking about,
I was
we're
so
gonna
mean to
drop so
him.
many
I
links.
was so mean to Graham to make him do
Uh,
certain color changes. I was like, okay, this is not clear, Graham. He's like, how can you not be clear? I'm like, because we're not you, Graham. I started. I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay, you don't have to do it.
it looks so good. Yep, Mark just dropped the if y'all haven't seen the Princess Zero prologue yet, go watch it. It's like it's moving. It brought me to tears. Like, and that does
Aww.
not happen very much. That's like a maybe once or twice a year thing. So like,
In our partnership, Mark currently has the unfortunate responsibility of trying to get us to not waste time and money. But he recently failed his responsibility and goes, Seppy, I think we need to have a goal or something where you write a novelization of the Princess Zero arc. I'm like, what? It doesn't go from game to comic book to novella. That is not
yes,
how
it
this
does.
works.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We're doing this in reverse order. Oh my gosh.
See,
Yeah, this is also why we all need to back it because we need to hit these tiers.
well, we love it if you could support it that way, but like seriously, uh, there's so much fun to be had in and around the campaign. There's so many ways that you can help out that has nothing to do with money. Like going and letting other like female voices know that gaming is important and there are people who want to have them at their table is just as important as anything else that we're doing.
Curious, Seppi, you are such a vocal voice, same thing, vocal voice for POCs, for women, for the gay community. Like, how did you find your voice, friend?
No, I don't know. What do you mean? I'm just happy to be here, SJ. This is just who I am. I'm like,
I love this. Has
oh
this
God.
always been you, or did you have a
No,
moment
no,
where you
no.
found your voice?
No, the secret that Mark is not doing a good job keeping secret is uh, I prefer to be by myself and not be seen. Like the invisibility of everything is a thing. But like invisibility equals death. I used to
It's
think
just
it
you and
was.
me. We're just
Yeah, I
talking.
used to. Yeah, like, and it ended up being become very necessary for the company to continue to use all its assets, and people very much wanted to buy into my idiocy. Like, I'm just gonna give that idiot money rather than take a chance on this game. Um, uh, and that's just how it ended up. Like you guys all have an amazing community here, and all
You're
the
part of our
podcasting.
community, Seppi.
I'm a
We
satellite
have
of
an
a
amazing
satellite.
community. You're
I'm
just lurking in the back. There are plenty of people out here who are lurking in the back.
um, but I got to I got like tabletop Santa says, Seppy, you need to get on TikTok, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do that. And I ended up finding that I like a lot of the people who make content, and I just do it now to obviously help my company out, but because I sort of like them as people, and I want to be one of them. And I found that same thing to be the case with the gaming industry. Like Mark and I are really lucky to be surrounded by awesome industry people. Um, and yeah, the answer to your question is
Yeah, I was gonna say
it
you
was
didn't
never
answer my question.
it was never intentional. It was all by luck. And I don't know how it happened nor if it is actually happening.
It's totally happening. I'm here to tell you it's happening. Seppi, it's happening.
What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, but so many people, like, especially they start kind of seeing success and they don't see the struggles of other people. Especially
It's a good
like
thing that we never made success, Mark. Yay!
no, not true, not true.
No, Mouse Cheese
Good
was a
to know.
huge success. And we've been doing this for 10 years. Yeah,
Yes,
we've been doing this for 10
you're
years.
making it. You're making and just like waking up and getting to do it another day is success, right? Because like how do you
100%. That is
yeah,
actually a thing. That exactly. This is the dream. Um, this is what success feels like.
yeah, it's hard.
Uh, yeah, it's absolutely true. But like, we only have so much time on the planet, and we only have so much energy to spend. And when your game hits the table, that means somebody has used their most precious resource, their most precious time, the time they chose for themselves, which is so slim,
Hmm.
to play your game. And we just try to be as respectful of that as possible.
I love that.
We
It's very
want
good to
women to
hear.
feel welcome in our space. I would like to play games with women.
I love that. Let's play games. Let's play more games together, Seppy.
Let's play more games together, Sarah. Let's do this.
I
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
love it. Oh, okay. I have touched none of the chat's questions.
Andrew was supposed to do it. We both muted him. He can't help us.
No, it's fine. It's fine. He's not gonna hear anything. Um, yes. So I like Richard posted a question in here that I am super curious about. What is your favorite probability curve for games?
Oh my God, my favorite probability curve for games.
What a
You know,
good question.
like 2d6 is way more consistent than you think. I think that's
Okay.
my most, it's not my favorite, but it's
Uh-huh.
my most underrated. Like the 2d6 as far as a probability curve goes.
Okay.
Um, I like a variable curve. Like a bag builder is amazing. And you can chart your own risk and reward. I feel like that has the best of all worlds. So to answer his question, I like a variable one set by the player's greed.
I like that a lot. I
I
like
hope
that a
that
lot.
answers this question. I hope that's a fair answer to that question.
I think it is. I think it is. Just to clarify for some of our folks who don't play a lot of board games, what is a probability curve in a board game?
Okay, so whenever you do something that has a random, um, there is a certain chance of success. Okay? So if you take the average of like rolling a die, a d6, the average number is going to be 3.5. But you can make your math around what's going to end up happening with one die. But then suddenly, when you put it to two dice, there's like a nice curve that ends up happening. With this bulge at the seven, there's more things that end up happening. You can make it more. It's less swingy, though. 3.5 is the average on a d6.
Mhm.
Um, you still have equal probability of a one critical fail or a six crit happening, right? But when you start having multiple dice to make that happen, that changes it, right?
Right.
So you have that flat die again, of course, which is the d20. But then even d20 realized that they needed to get off of that, and so they added advantage, which is basically 2d20, right? So yeah, shenanigans.
I like
So
it.
you start playing with cards, you have 52 options, right, in a standardized deck, and then suddenly your probabilities go down by basically things that you have selected. So
Mhm.
things, and that's card counting. Um,
Yes. Right. Which
and
apparently you can't do in Vegas, but whatever.
yes, they do multiple things to try to stop you because they've set up the system that they will win, 51.5% of the time. And that's all it takes for them to make lots of money.
I like it. Okay.
That answer the
Super
question.
group. Yes, great answer to the question. Great answer to the question. We've got a lot of RPGers too who may not do that. Yeah, because RPGers are awesome. Okay. Drunkle Grog has a good one. We have 5 minutes. I think you can answer this in 5 minutes. How did you meet our great and honorable Supreme Overlord, Mark?
I tortured him.
Did what?
All right. So in my history and in gaming, there are a lot of people who mean well and who are talented.
Hmm.
What you can't, however, manufacture is follow through and communication skills.
Yes.
So, Mark and his brother Doug, I love Doug, they cornered me at PAX Unplugged,
Okay.
and I said, "Hey, go away. But if you meet me at Sunday at this time, I'll go over your portfolios." So they did. So I did. I looked
Hmm.
at them and I love both their work. And I looked at Mark's watercolors and I'm like, "Hey, I don't have a project for you right now, but if you meet with me every month for 15 minutes to half an hour, uh, when I do have a project, you will be first in line." And he did it. He just
Of
showed
course.
up every month for 15 minutes to half an hour for 18 months.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. Yeah, that's not even the big fish of it. That's the actual truth of it.
I
For 18
love
months.
that. So Mark and Doug cornered you in a dark alley at PAX Unplugged.
And Philly, if you've ever been to Philly, you know they have lots of dark alleys, and they're like,
Yes, 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 yes.
"Ah, I can sharpen this carb, I can sharpen this charcoal, or I can
At
carve
knife
into
point, at
you."
charcoal point.
Yeah,
Excellent.
are
Right,
you gonna look at this
right. And
portfolio?
open their trench coat of portfolio in your face. Yep, yep,
I
yep.
wasn't gonna share that bit because there's a lot going on. I was not prepared for. Uh, yeah.
It's just it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow from here.
Yeah.
It's the real truth of it coming out. All right, 2 minutes lightning round. Are you ready?
Yes.
Favorite book of all time.
Favorite book of all time. Real book or fantasy book?
Whatever.
I think most influential book will be Baldwin's Giovanni's Room. I think that
Ooh, I don't know that
is,
one.
oh my God, it will crush you. You will not
Okay.
survive reading that.
Yeah, yeah, I like those.
Giovanni's Room is pretty incredible. Fantasy, it would have to be The Talisman.
Okay, okay.
Talisman's incredible.
I love it. I love it. All right. What is your favorite game of all time? And I'm going to say game, no qualifiers. Video, tabletop, board, doesn't matter. Pick one.
Um, by time played or interest to play it again.
Interest to play it again.
I'm currently in love with Kingdom Death Monster because
Ooh,
I want to beat it and I get obsessed. I play a lot of Hearthstone. I play a huge amount of Conquest Princess
as you
um,
should.
on a daily basis, and it is still super duper 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 fun. Yeah. My underrated titles, however, are Hedgehog Cop and Processing. I don't think people realize those games, like me, are smarter than they look.
Oh my God. Well, yeah. And processing is the one that I love to demo because it's just so freaking good.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's brutal
So,
and you can have a strategy to it.
yeah, like I can't own Kingdom Death Monster because it's a $5,000 board game.
Are you playing it on oh my gosh, it's not Sovereignty. It's oh my goodness.
A friend of mine owns a copy.
Oh, I have to figure this out. I'm gonna why is it a $5,000 board game? Yeah, I have the same question. The chat would like to know why is it a $5,000 board game?
Because it was originally a miniature line that somebody kept on adding rules to and more miniatures to, and the MSRP for that game now is $5,000. Its original all-in was $1,700 to get their stuff indefinitely, and that was the deal. Like this is the thing. Um, it has its intro story is an actual book with one line of text and full image. The
Oh
miniatures
wow.
are huge and grotesque, super finely made. There's a bazillion like equipment and all this kinds of stuff. It is super dark. It is very awful. Nobody should play this game, and its audacity is why I love it. The unflinching audacity of it is one of the reasons why it's my favorite game.
I'm
And
gonna I'm gonna have to Google this.
yeah, oh my
Finding
God,
oh
it's
what Mark put it in the chat. There we go. Excellent. We'll be able to find it.
historically I say that yeah, like I don't get to play that game nearly enough, and it really hits like my I have to make characters and they die horribly over and over again. Like
I feel like that like fulfills something inside of you. I see you. I see you. I hate to do this. It's 10:01 Eastern time. It's like
oh
8:01 your time. Are you Mountain? I think you're
no! No, I'm Central.
Central.
Just
It is
got started.
9:01 your time.
Oh my God,
I
it
know
just
we
got
just
started.
got
All these
started.
people are having fun. Like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Oh my gosh, it's terrible. That's okay. That's okay. So the good news is you can follow Seppy on TikTok. I know he's there on TikTok all the time putting out content. You can, which I need to follow you. Oh my gosh. But you, you can see him on Lone Gamers of the Apocalypse and a whole lot else. Where else can we find you, Seppy?
Instagram,
Instagram. Oh, that's right. Instagram.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The great thing is, 10 years ago, I managed to snag Fight in a Box from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu studio, and then I proliferated it everywhere. And so I'm still waiting for those guys to come for me. I mean, I've said this other places, but it's true.
God, it's so good. I love it so much. Okay. So, friends, as always, thanks to our awesome chat. If you haven't checked out our Discord channel yet, we're on Nightcast Creative over on the Discord server. As always, hosted, we are the brainchild of the amazing Mark, who's saying thank you. Oh my gosh, no, in in the chat. Thank you to Mark for letting us do these shenanigans, to Andrew for actually running the back end of this, because we all know I'm too ADHD to do that. And everybody in the chat, and just Seppy, thank you so much for being here and just talking to you about the amazingness that is you. Go support Conquest Princess. Tell all your femme friends about it. It's going to be amazing. I've played it. It's super amazing. Friends, we will be back on next month where, Richard, it's your turn. So,
Okay.
yeah. What?
One
One more
last thing.
One
Happy
last thing.
Pride. Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride! All right, friends, until next time, now we wave and look cute, and Andrew plays us out.